everybody on the team? Yes, okay, thank you very much. Okay, people. If you haven't seen the Miro vote on the chat, there will be another link soon. Hey, everybody. We will be starting now, 3 minutes after the hour. Again, happy, if you haven't heard this, happy you are all making the time to come. Please use the Miro link for the event board that we will be using, the workshop board. My name is Martin Lenz Fitzgerald, and I will be opening this session today. I am joined by my fellow team members who helped organize this, as well as the SI Public Service Conference, Isaac Riley, Melio Yuhin, and Florian Schwendinger. But we also have with us, and who were also involved with the conference, Josh Colchester, the SI founder, as well as the core team member, Azra. And also we have supporting us, Benjamin Taylor, who, with his community members, was the team responsible for the publication that we will be using today on the conference themes, as well as the forthcoming report about what happened at the event. So today you are at the Systems Innovation event run by the Governance Hub, and we work along our motto of from aspiration to reality. That's always what we are about. It's easy to be in your head with systems innovation, but how do you make it a reality, especially in government and public service? This session today is the follow-up for the conference, as said. Probably some of you have been there, maybe some of you have not. It was a very good event. I'll talk about that in a moment. We will start first with some check-in exercises. That's the program where we will start with. Then Josh will take over to go through the themes Benjamin and his team have prepared. So he will go over it so everybody gets the gist of what we saw. And then the whole crowd that gathered with us today will vote to discuss at least 4 of these in 2 rounds, because we can't discuss all of them. So we thought, let's just select 4 of the themes that we find interesting and want to talk on more. So there will be 5 rooms, because the 5th room will be the catch-all or the open space if you have something else to say or something that is not covered in the themes. Each of the members in this team will facilitate that. When we're done with that, Mario will lead the part where the report out happens, and maybe some conclusions, new insight will be shared, after which Isaac will close and will give Benjamin a short word to ask us, as well as asking us for feedback. So it is a 90-minute event. There was some confusion starting up in the agenda. I hope everybody can make it to at least the European time, 12:30, or 90 minutes from now, or a little bit less, because we're now 11:06. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to just ask me or put it in the chat. I'm always way interactive. And maybe to start off with, are we ready to, maybe go into, were you at the conference? So we have 2 little exercises that we came up with today. So we have 2 questions. Were you at the conference? Then please fill out the little area on Miro where it says, what are your key insights from the event? There's lots of nice blue stickies. Yet, if you were not at the conference, what are you hoping to get out from today? And let's fill that out. Let's do that for 2 minutes. So it's now 11:07 in my clock. So 11:09, I'll start rounding this up, and then we'll go over the thing. And if you're doing that, and if you're done early, please also mark where you are from in the map, because that will be fun to see how well we are. And I think I know which dot Isaac put in, because he's calling in from Australia. Very good. Everybody's working hard. Katie, I see that you can't interact on Miro. If you have anything to say that you would like to do on Miro, then please do that via the chat, which is all okay. We've made sure that we use it then. Very good. I'm going to start reading some out already. So, what were your key insights? Oh, and Josh got a timer. Very good. So, similarities in challenges faced across different areas when trying to do systems work in public sector. Yes, there's quite a lot of consensus in what we need to do. Yeah, that was interesting. You need to physically get together and meet like-minded people from different countries. Oh, I so amen to that. Oh, and we have a lot of people here who are not there, hoping to explore relationships between systems thinking and system thinking in the more than public services. Hoping also to catch up on some threads from the conference. Where are things leading? My friend was at the conference and said he had met his tribe. There is the time. I'll go on a little bit. Yes, we are a tribe. Thank you for that one. That's a very good. Okay, I can't read them all. Get a sense of the themes that emerged. Very good. Hearing about some insights, further connections from those working to implement. Getting an understanding from what participants would like to see at future conferences. Very good. Very good. Now let's see on the map. Where are we there? Um, we got Africa, we got India, and yes, we have Europe. Well, that happens with a Europe-centric event, of course. Very good. Well, welcome everybody again. I think we do have gotten a little gist about what's going on. Now, before we jump in, I'd like to move the board a little bit to the right, because one of the cool things we did for the first time was create a systems map, sorry, to the left for the audience at home, because we created a map of all the organizations and people that were there. So if you're curious what that was and who was there, because yeah, this gives kind of like an insight. Of course, it's not a real systems map, but it does give a feel of what was there. Because looking back, I mean, it was a great event with 90 to 100 people. And yeah, of course, this doesn't do justice to the experience, the real life experience, but it might be useful if you were there to look people up, or if you're interested and weren't there, but you hear something useful today, you can use that as well. Personally, and I think I really like the fact that I just met my core team members for the first time, apart from Isaac, who couldn't come from Australia, for the first time, as well as Josh. I've really connected not only with them more, but also with the people, the speakers, the audience members, and we had some great discussions, not only at the event, but of course also in the hallways and at the dinners. And why can't we do that in teams more? I find that so interesting always. But yes, that's the world we live in today with physical events and digital experiences. We do have much more reach, of course, in digital space. So that is, of course, a separate thing. I think I'm ready with opening slowly. If I have not, or if I have missed something, please let me know, fellow team members. And if not, I would like to hand over the next part to Josh, who will lead us into the themes that we gathered with the help of Benjamin about the conference and what happened, what was going on. So Josh, please take it over.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Martin. Great to be here with everyone and have this follow-up conversation. Quickly share with you first the resources, actually, so you can find those on the website. So you have paper that Benjamin and others compiled and we'll be looking at now. It's a series of short slides you can look through. So the link is there. You'll find it on the website. Also, we have the slides from the speakers. If you click on this link here, you should be able to find that and go through those. So that's that. To say a few words about the event, the conference, what happened there, and what we managed to collect from it. Here we are. So the conference covered a broad range of topics relating to systems thinking in government, focusing particularly on relational services, relational public services, policy design, leadership, governance, and transformation. And this is a little bit what it looked like. So we pulled out 8 themes from the event. I will say this was compiled by Benjamin and his team through recording the sessions, being there in person, so taking notes, and then we passed it through an algorithm to try and synthesize some of the results here. Benjamin will also be publishing a more in-depth paper from each of the sessions with the notes coming in the following weeks, and he'll be able to share more as we get towards the end. But I'll just go over briefly these 8 key themes here. Also, we did a little word cloud, so it looks a bit like that. Not surprising, we've got public services, governance, and so forth as big ones, but you can see other ones there. Also, long-term approaches. Relational, we'll be talking about this, leadership, potential, flexibility, accountability, and so forth, adaptive approaches. So here we are, and just to remind you, as I go through this, afterwards we're going to be voting on which ones we want to take into breakout rooms. You'll be able to go to the room that you want to discuss the theme that you want to. So keep that in mind. We'll be coming back when I finish today, when I finish my little session to do voting. So have a think about which one you'd like to discuss. So to zoom in here, the first one, the role of systems thinking in public service transformation. So this is quite a broad topic, the general kind of theme of the conference, right? It was very much governance is a broad theme, but we're very much focusing on public services and change and transformation, and how systems thinking is relevant in that context. So we can see here in the image, we've got Mr. Benjamin Taylor and colleagues that he brought in from different local authorities here in the UK to share their insights around this. So, not surprising, the need for systemic approaches to policymaking, governance, and service design, importance of long-term thinking over short-term project-based interventions. Open versus closed systems, public services must balance flexibility and structure. And this last one, the challenge of embedding learning-based governance to adapt systems over time. So a key theme here was around human learning systems. If you're not from the UK, you may not know of that. It's quite big here in the UK. Toby Lowe joined us, who's one of kind of the founders of that movement, and shared a presentation, but it's gained quite a bit of traction. It's the recognition that these services need to be about learning, and they need to be about human beings, and they need to be about relationships. And that leads us on to the second topic here. Benjamin's panel was actually about relational public services, and that idea has been around for a little bit. It's kind of shown that it makes a lot of sense. Why hasn't it really gained traction was what he was talking about there. You might like to vote on that topic, and he'll be in one of the breakout rooms, so you might be able to discuss it with him if you want to explore that further. So yeah, relational public services and human learning systems, kind of following up from what I was talking about there, shifting from transactional to relational approaches, focusing on people over processes. Yeah, we know governments, public services become quite bureaucratic, and they become about processes and boxes and so forth. Can we actually shift the locus from the institution itself kind of out to the community and the actual embedded network of relationships, and how those people can learn around this challenge, and how to provide these services, and public service providers can be more of a supporting role rather than delivery of solutions, should we say. So human relationships as the public service offer. Interesting idea. And that would be a total paradigm shift, wouldn't it? It's not what we really offer at the moment, I wouldn't say. Service should not be merely procedural, but built around trust and connections. Had examples from Northumbria, and Karen joined us from Amsterdam. We'll look at that a little bit now in a minute, talking about healthy weight program, really interesting initiative she's been working on there in the Netherlands. Barriers to scaling relationships. Yeah, that's a big one. We'll talk about it now. There's the scaling aspect of this, including hierarchical structures, funding constraints, accountability frameworks. And maybe I'll jump into that one, this scaling challenge, right? So Karen was kind of focusing on this. I think Muriel's topic was also around this. This here is actually Tim from Darlington Service Design Lab. He was giving a case study for us. And just to jump into this topic, so Karen talked about scaling deep versus scaling out. Transformation must go beyond policy replication to embedded culture and structural shifts. If you're not familiar with this idea of scaling deep, it's about deep personal and broad cultural transformation where work is required to create durable systems change. So it's kind of, as the name implies, kind of going deeper to scale things out rather than just replicating them. So yeah, we had the influence from Sweden with Morell, and also Rowan was talking quite a bit about Sweden and how they're kind of leading when it comes to missions and portfolio approaches and so forth. But it's great to have both Karen and Morell bringing in ideas, and Martin also from Amsterdam, public administration there, and Sweden was kind of highlighted as some sort of inspiration for us. So tensions between policy cycles and long-term transformation. Karen raised that. She framed it as, this political merry-go-round, she said it. And we had to, actually, if you want this longer-term transformation stuff, you have to kind of say, she was saying, separate yourself from that kind of, the stuff that happens at the top where you have every 4 years or however long it is, and new administration come in, new agenda and so forth. They're going to say the past guys were terrible and we've got all the solutions, and a merry-go-round is a good way of describing it, I think. And she was saying, in the administration, you have to be able to separate yourself from that to some extent to be able to do this kind of more long-term transformational work, ensuring continuity despite leadership changes. Mission washing, where governments adopt transformation. Cohen kind of pulled out the UK government for this one. In the previous conference, we talked about systems washing also. So that's definitely part of this. So I'll stay going. Here's Morell and her presentation. This topic's around policy design, governance, innovation. So the role of leadership, shifting from top-down control to participatory governance models. I think that's quite well recognized. We need kind of more decentralized local forms of governance, more kind of participatory approaches, right? I think that's a movement across Europe to try and make that happen, particularly here in the UK. It's quite centralized. And also the role of leadership. I think we'll come back to that topic. It's further down here. The impact of power, trust, and participation. Who holds power in public services? Ensuring transformation includes end users, communities, frontline workers, and stakeholders, rather than being imposed from above. Also not forgetting politicians. Yeah. So trust building as an enabler of systems change, shifting away from blame cultures and risk aversion governance. So, the idea that change happens at the speed of trust, and going back to building relationships and forming relationships and strengthening relationships as the actual outcome that we're trying to achieve, is paramount to trust building, and then having that buy-in. So I mean, when we talked with Karen in the dinner before the event, she who's in the public administration in Amsterdam, and she was saying, the key challenge they face there is just that gap that that people perceive this huge gap between them and the government, and they feel disconnected from it. She said that was the number one kind of problem that they face. So it's the thing we really should be doing is trying to reconnect, right? To build that trust again, and then a lot of things kind of full of potential comes out of that. So dismantling barriers to participation, changing bureaucratic structures, and making sure that marginalized voices are included. I'll stay going. So yeah, I mean, it's a topic everywhere these days, AI and data, future public services. There's a lot that could be said about that. I wasn't part of all those conversations, so I'm not sure. So I just called out this one, which I think is a good one, not just for governance, but broadly in society. Concerns about AI being used to reinforce closed transactional models, kind of perpetuating, the reductionist kind of systems we have already and making them faster and better and so forth, and also perpetuating all the issues they create. But how can it be an enabler of relationships? Adaptive services and understand the context that people are in, so you can actually build much more adaptive and personalized public services. and hopefully try and get move away from that one size kind of industrial age model that we know quite well. Yeah, I won't go into all of that. Obviously, ethical considerations, considerations about how we make decisions using these algorithms and so forth. It's quite a big conversation. I may stay moving on for now. You're welcome to vote on that. We'll have the option to do so soon. Organizational and leadership development. Certainly, I think leadership needs to be part of this conversation. So the need for adaptive leadership, where leaders embrace complexity, uncertainty, learning based approaches. And I think that's a huge kind of change that needs to come about. Yeah, shifting from kind of the idea that leaders should have all the plans and all kind of presented as if it's a certain scenario, and they just need to deliver solutions to actually embracing complexity, which is a lot about uncertainty and helping people collaborate with others to learn about the nature of the challenge and work with others to build approaches to that. So the importance of emotional intelligence in leaders, interdisciplinary collaboration, recognizing tensions in organizational change. Yeah, so Russ talked about this really interesting tension between, they have to, well, particularly governments, right? They need to be platforms of stability, of trust and all of this and security, but we also need to evolve and adapt. So there's huge tension there, particularly in government in there. So how do we kind of navigate that tension? Russ did a really interesting session around that. You'll find it in the slides. Actually, so the last theme here, open space discussion, key reflections. Yeah, warm bath, trying to avoid that. I think Karen, or maybe it was Maril that mentioned that idea, and I mentioned it too. Just, we have to disrupt ourselves. We have to, step into spaces of uncertainty and discomfort if we're going to innovate and change and transform here. Systems transformation is a social movement. Enabling change beyond government structures includes civil society and grassroots movement. I think that's a really good one, right? We all show up to focus on government and public services, but real transformation doesn't just happen inside that box. It requires so many other things to happen and change across society, civil society, education, security, law, so on and so forth. And finance and all of this, that we actually need to think outside the box. Also, if you really want that transformation, it needs to be both what's happening inside government, but also how does that relate and connect with border changes in other areas too. So that's that, people. Hopefully it helped you gain a little bit of insight into the event. Welcome you to take a look at that paper. Now we're going to vote on which ones you want to take away and have a talk about in the breakout rooms. So let me set up some voting. Hopefully you are here on the mirror board already. I'm going to give you some options here and then we'll take 1 minute. So those images, that one there, we'll just take 1 minute. You just have one vote. Please vote on the topic you want to discuss. You should see the option in front of you on your screen to join the voting.
Next time we'll add music, Joss. I do think it's fitting.
That the political merry-go-round music you want, Martin?
That is a very good one. Thank you.
Okay. Time's up. Let's take a look at the results. Yep. Well, okay. So you wanted to talk about the role of systems thinking in public services. Great. So going to drag that into room. That's going to be room 1. You wanted to talk about relational public services and human learning systems. That's going to be room 2. And then we want to talk about challenges scaling systems change, policy design and government institutions.